Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Indus International Research Foundation, I welcome you all to the IIRF Aerospace and Defense Technology Weekly Lecture Series. For your kind information, these lectures are especially designed for our audience from the defense industries, MSMEs, startups, and the defense scientist community, on whose shoulders lie the responsibility to make India Atmanirbhar in defense production as well as defense technology. Through this lecture series, IIRF will be trying to bridge the gap existing between India's defense forces needs and what the private sector can innovate and deliver indigenously or through collaborations. Through this lecture series, it remains our attempt to bring to you specialists, industry leaders, and high-profile speakers representing the Government of India dealing with the relevant subject of your interest. We also bring in high-profile speakers from the industry who wish to put across their point of view, share their experiences, or highlight their problems and aspirations in the respective areas they are dealing with, so that their voice can reach the right quarters. Today's speaker is veteran Colonel Selva Kumar, CEO of the Bridge Bharat Council of Promotion of Innovation, Research and Entrepreneurship. And today's session is being chaired by Lieutenant General Dr. Anil Kapoor, AVSM, VSM, former Director General, Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. He will join us shortly. Colonel Selva Kumar will be talking for 30 minutes, followed by a review by General Kapoor, whereupon the house will be open for the question and answer sessions from the audience and the participants. Please put your questions and queries in the chat box with your intro and company name, and the question will be picked up and fielded by me from here. However, before we begin, I will request the President IIRF, Brigadier Sandeep Kumar, VSM, to give his welcome address and kick off the lecture series. All to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, on behalf of Indus International Research Foundation, let me welcome all the esteemed guests who have spared their valuable time to attend this second talk in our series of talks on Atmanirbhar Bharat in aerospace and defense industry. The broad aim of this series has already brought out by Raj Mehta is to familiarize the private defense industry and entrepreneurs with the broad emerging technology needs of the Indian Armed Forces, and also to facilitate collaboration and interaction with the user, academia, and manufacturers. We are planning to culminate this series by conducting a defense conclave in Bangalore sometime in the month of March 24, where some US industrialists and diplomatic staff are likely to attend. The first in this series of lectures in this was on emerging technology landscape for modernization of armed forces, a consortium approach by Lieutenant General Dr. Anil Kapoor, AVSM, VSM, is one of our advisors. Today, we are presenting a talk on a grounded approach to facilitate the user and the manufacturers to understand each other and make Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense industry really happen on ground. There's a need to change the way the armed forces adapt itself to the future needs based on fast-changing technology, directly affecting the battle efficiency and decision-making. Today, wars are mostly becoming non-contact. The other type of conflict is purely based on anti-terrorist operations, where you fight an unseen enemy, and efforts to completely neutralize such terrorist organizations become astronomically challenging as the operation progresses. We have faced and are still facing this situation. There are enough such examples all across the world, Israel, Hamas, and Hezbollah being the latest. As I have already pointed out during the last webinar, India is among the top 3 nations in disruptive technology development. Application of disruptive technology in all domains of warfare is clearly visible in the ongoing Russo-Ukraine war and the Israel-Hamas conflict. And this is where our private industry and entrepreneurs play a very vital role to meet the future needs of our armed forces. With collaborative and coordinated efforts, India can become a pioneer in this field ensuring our economic growth as well. Today, we are presenting for you a talk and presentation on collaborative research and development and coordinated manufacturing by Colonel Selva Kumar, a veteran from EME, Electronics and Mechanical Engineers, and he is the CEO of Bridge Bharat Council for Promotion and Innovation, Research and Entrepreneurship. He is doing a yeoman service with boots on ground to facilitate collaborative R&D and also nurturing the Tamil Nadu Defence Corridor. I also take this opportunity to extend our special welcome to Lieutenant General Sunil Srivastav, heading the CENJOS, and all the research assistants of the CENJOS who are attending it. We are very happy to announce that we already have signed a memorandum of understanding with CENJOS, which will facilitate further to extend our support to all the industries in future. Welcome you all once again to this event, and let us work together to achieve total Atmanirbharta in next few years. Thank you, and over to Raj.
I'm supposed to give a brief introduction to Veteran Colonel N. Selva Kumar. He's an alumnus of National Defense Academy and the Indian Military Academy. His resume, by the way, is very long. I will try to shorten it. He joined Indian Army in 1988, having stood first in the order of merit amongst officers commissioned in the Corps of Electronic and Mechanical Engineers. In service, he has been awarded commendation cards with the Chief of Integrated Defense Service for outstanding performance in handling strategic tri-services projects in the capacity of commanding officer, as well as the Director General of the Quality Assurance. In his over 33 years service in the Corps of EME, he held many important appointments, including command of the Specialist Workshop of Tri-Services Signal Intelligence, and had complex integrated projects of high frequency, very high frequency, and ultra high frequency and microwave monitoring systems. He acted as the technical head of multi-crore projects in these areas. Colonel Selva is credited with having designed and developed an automated remote diagnosis system for radio sets to remotely assess the conditions over the VSAT with inbuilt knowledge base and pinpoint fault. He also has the distinction of being the senior faculty of Electronic and Military College of EME, where he taught graduates and postgraduate level officer students of the Indian Army. Apart from quality assurance, he has guided student projects on quality management, project management, Six Sigma, designed and developed e-learning packages. As Joint Director, Directorate of Indigenization, Army Headquarters, he initiated them and managed indigenization projects across all disciplines, saved crores of rupees to the exchequer. He was the single point contact of DOI for the industry interaction and expertise management. Post-retirement, he headed a plant of a private defense manufacturing company, turned it around from loss to profit-making operations, both internal and external. Today, this company is sustaining profit through manufacture of supply of defense electronic products of battle tanks, guns, air-ground support equipment. Currently, he is the CEO of Bridge Bharat Council of Promotion of Innovation and Research, and Colonel Selva, welcome to you. The floor is yours. You kindly
Thank you, sir.
Share your experiences and insights and thoughts.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your kind words. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we'll be talking about collaborative R&D and cooperative manufacture, coordinated manufacture. I'm going to keep it more into the tactical side, wherein I'll be covering it on the ground level. So the little bit of talk about the initial pace was set by General Kapoor last time. He had mentioned about the consortium also. So I will primarily focus it on the way we have faced it over the last 3 years and how we were shaped up and achieved what I am talking. So it's more like a success model that we'll be talking about. I'll just share my screen. Hope my screen is visible, sir.
Yeah, it is visible.
Right. Collaborative R&D and coordinated manufacturing in defense sector. I'll try and place the realities first. Thereafter, we'll go into the what is the how we turn it around so that we can achieve our aim. So I'll be giving a brief introduction about where we stand about as far as the indigenization is concerned. I would also talk a little bit about the business scope and opportunities, but however, most of the audience are very aware about this. So I will go quickly over it. And in case we have anything to talk about, I will come back later to the question asked. Then I'll talk about a few basics about collaborative R&D and coordinated manufacture. And finally, I'll be presenting you the success model of Bridge Bharat Council and how we've done it, and we are able to sustain our achievements. By the way, I'm proud to announce that we are the only ones. Bridge Bharat Council is the only one who's doing this level of connect at the ground grassroots level, providing the last mile connectivity for all the different indigenization activities. So we are proud, and we do work with almost all organizations working towards defense indigenization. As you are aware, like a lot of focus has been there in respect of the indigenization from, I just flashed the message from Defense Minister. I also put up the Defense Secretary's message wherein he says Indian industry and academia being integral to our national endeavor must participate in accelerating indigenous technology adoption, particularly in defense sector. So primarily the three elements that are there, we have the defense, we have the industry, and the academia. So unless we three work together, we will not be achieved what we desire. To begin, I just wanted to show as far as the our level of imports. We are still remaining as the largest importer, and primarily from Russia. So to break the large dependence on Russia, we had started diversifying into Western world. Now the global supply chain has been disrupted due to the Russian-Ukraine and Hamas-Israel conflict. So we have a very limited scope for importing defense equipment. As far as the focus on indigenization is concerned, now classically we had complete dependence on DRDO, defense PSUs, and backed up by the imports. So we never had the Indian private industries nurtured into the ecosystem of indigenous defense manufacturing. We had only a handful of companies which were there and which continue to be there today. So with the PPP model having been thrown open to everybody, there's a huge will to come into this indigenization. They all want to come into defense sector, but they don't know how to. Now that's exactly where the support is required. The India's focus on indigenization has been good. A lot of commendable efforts has been put in, but the pace has not been commensurate. We'll discuss about the reasons a little while later. And as a result, we have the Indian defense equipment availability being affected. Now, we need to fast track this pace of indigenization, and by reaching out to the academy and industry. Now, Bridge Bharat Council is one such organization which is doing this. So I'll cover it towards the end. As far as the business scope is concerned in the defense sector, I'll cover it briefly on the Indian Army portion, and more or less the same as with the other services also. We primarily need to sustain the Indian Army during war and peace by ensuring high state of availability of weapons, ammunition, equipment, vehicles, and stores, and also the trained crew at all times. Now, we have about 3,035 types of major equipment blocks in Army, and each one has got its own population. And we operate in almost all the terrains that are available in India. That puts a lot of requirements on the equipment, and more so the requirement of the manufacturers to understand the environment, operational conditions into which the equipment is going. And especially a place like Tamil Nadu, we do not understand what is cold. If we say cold, it is maybe about 28 degrees is cold, too cold for us. But then when we talk about a product going into Siachen, they will not be able to appreciate. So that is where right from there, we need the veterans to be guiding, and that is where we are. To summarize, world's second largest army, 3,035 types I've said, and we have about 158 aircrafts also, the helicopters. Now, each equipment has got a large inventory. I mean, a tank itself has about 3,560 in its bill of material. That means each one is an opportunity by itself for an industry who's trying to indigenize it. Now, we have a technology which is have over a wide range of vintage from 40 plus years to modern, and we even have the current technologies like artificial intelligence and virtual reality. In order to continue to serve its primary goal, that is to win a war, Army needs to keep pace by developing its capabilities, taking into account the ever-growing threat and sensitive environment. Besides the weapon system, there's also a requirement for associated MRO infrastructure, assured supply chain, healthy soldiers, and complete infrastructure for training. That opens way for manufacturers of the equipment. Then the MRO infrastructure, there's a lot of talk about the MRO coming up. We have a lot of difficulty in the MRO also. An assured supply chain, in the sense like we need a much larger industry base to support. And when I'm talking about a volume of 3,035 items with an average of about 1,000 items each in every equipment bill of material, that gives us a huge requirement. Even if you don't have one critical bolt, the equipment is out of action. And we also have an opportunity for the healthcare services. So, and the infrastructure maintenance, that is for the buildings, as well as we require for training, as well as the simulators and other things. Now, these are all required to sustain the weapon system, and we need to look at the whole life management approach. Challenges we have is firstly ensuring the serviceability of legacy systems and life extension. We bought it with 10 years of product support. We are using it beyond 40 years, 40, 50 years. The critical spares are inadequate or unreliable. The industries have already stopped manufacturing. The OEMs who are foreign OEMs, they've closed down the shops. Now, we have undue import dependency and a very slow pace of indigenization. So resulting in non-availability of equipment due to delays in MRO and maintaining the equipment. So management of upgrades and obsolescence, besides in the import substitution, these are the things where the industry and academia can get into support the defense. We have critical defense technologies which are not locally available, like in view of like night vision devices, surveillance equipment, electronic warfare, and even have the issue with the metallurgy and equivalent material establishing. We have inadequate supply chain. I also already brought it. As a result, what's happening is we have a huge drain on budget. I have put it very moderately, very modestly, that cost of export defense space is more than 5 times the cost of indigenous. In fact, it is much more than that. Sorry. What happens is the budget allotted, where we could have probably bought 5 times the worth of space through indigenous manufacturing, we are just losing it out on one, going by the ratio. So we have what is required today. The focus of industry, academia, as well as what the defense wants is make in India, that is indigenously designed, developed and manufactured, which the MSMEs have to take on. Technology availability, where the academia can look into all types of research. Raw material availability. This is again a huge issue, because at the end of it, we have the technology, we are able to make it, but then if we have to import the metallurgy from outside, the raw material from outside, it is still the aim is defeated. And we need an effective supply chain management, where with the PPP model, we should be able to have more number of industries coming in, and we can also have the experts in supply chain management who can make things reach the right quantity in right place in right time. So we need coordination between the academia, industry, and defense, and we have a lot of bodies doing it. And Bridge Bharat Council is one of them who are doing it, giving the last mile connectivity. As the business opportunities, this maybe a repeat for many. It is about roughly about 6 lakh crores is what we have were allotted 23-24. This includes maybe other expenses like pay salaries and all, but still we can take it as a reference amount in which the new procurements, the capital procurements, out of which 1.63 lakh crore has been reserved for the private industry. These have to be manufactured by private industry only. And we have the requirement space for sustenance, which is about 2/3 of the entire fund. So, referring back to the opportunity, modernization of armed forces, the capital procurement, we need IDDM, research and development, technology development by academia, defense protects manufacturing. Now, this is where I'll say production for sustenance are the low-hanging fruits because the technology is known, the drawing is available, samples is available. It only needs the equivalent material to be used and probably some improvement in the design in terms of the latest technologies. Then we have the infrastructure development in terms of roads, buildings, tunnels, communication networks. We need supply chain sourcing and management and the training simulators. Now, this said, there's a lot of government initiatives have been there, which has made when dealing with the defense business very easy. We have 2 defense corridors. The policies have mostly been upgraded. The defense procurement manual acquisition, all of them have been upgraded to favor the industries and looking towards exports. We have focused on innovation where we have PDF, IDEX, and import substitution, which is published in the defense procurement portals, government e-market, positive indigenization lists. So far, 5 have been published, and the production linked incentives and the service linked schemes are there. We have made 1, 2, 3 projects which have been published online. And the defense testing infrastructure scheme is another beautiful facility which has been given for the clusters to use it and produce worthwhile equipment. There is also favor towards foreign direct investment and joint ventures. Just to summarize what is there in hand right now, we have the problem definition statements of 2023 published by the Army. We have the industrial plan, which has been put up by Navy on their webpage. Industrial roadmap published by Air Force. We have IDEX 10, which is still due till, in December. We have the TDF, Technology Development Fund, and the transfer of technology, which is available through DRDO. The RFPs are published on a regular basis and PLA SLA schemes. I'll just come to this slide a little later. Besides this, we have PLI and SLI schemes, aerospace and defense, where there are 2 schemes which are in under finalization. One is for defense production, dual use technologies and products. The other one is for MRO. So coming to the street and defense portal, this is giving a listing of about 33,475 number of items which are being targeted for getting indigenized. So an average of 13,000 plus items are imported per year, and we are spending 28,161 million rupees. The 4 levels of participation positive indigenization list had about 2,166 items totally published, out of which, and these are banned from import. Out of this, only 377 have been successfully indigenized so far. We are still looking at a target of 1,789 items, which are yet to be attempted. This, what I shown, doesn't include the 5th positive indigenization list, which is numbering about 98 projects worth 1,40,000 crores. And for the first time, the previous ones are mostly relying on the components and sub-assemblies. Now we got highly complex systems, sensors, weapons, and ammunition that have been included in the list. So, these are the indigenization points of contact, which we, as a Bridge Bharat, we've been constantly in touch with these people. These are all the places where we can actually take the industry and the academia for work. In fact, we are already working with Army-based workshops One we have already engaged for the projects. The other, there are two we are in talks, and we have already reached out to the Air Force BRDs and the technology centers. We are working with the Navy CASR also. Now, these are the links. If anybody is new, can take a screenshot. Now, let us come to the topic of the day, collaborative R&D and coordinated manufacture. I'll just briefly give you about some theoretical insights before getting into the actual one. The ideal scenario for when we're talking about collaborative R&D and coordinated manufacture, ideally we are looking at the defense, which is pushing out the requirements, and they are the end users who generate the problem statements. They're the ones who are supposed to get the things done, try and accept it. So we have the defense PSUs who are in support by design. They are the ones who are supposed to have one-to-one interaction and provide us all the kind of support as far as defense and defense PSUs are concerned. We have the private industries who are giving the ancillary support to defense PSUs, as well as a few assembly or sub-assembly level of support to defense directly. Now, these are all in the R&D part is limited so far. We have the academia, which has got a huge potential of brains. We have the faculty who are very learned. We have the students who can think out of the box. They have no fear of innovation, unlike we grown-ups. Now, this academia is another source which needs to be integrated with the defense PSUs and private industries, so that we form a smooth circle of interface. Now, any setup like this will not work on its own. We need an external coordinating agency who can probably make this whole thing happen. Now, this is the ideal scenario in which we should be able to collaborate. We should be able to have a coordinated manufacturing. The existing system is like what we have. I hope the academy will not object to this, what I have observed. I have been a faculty twice in different academia. I have also dealt with this. So academia focus on independent R&D projects which are framed in-house and is more concerned with the pursuit of knowledge rather than looking at any product or any kind of result in that. These are paid by either DST or other government bodies, and these are generally concluded without commercialization. Now, the MSMEs are typically, they do not have adequate fund to invest in a structured R&D. Mostly they rely on non-R&D based innovations just to improve the product and absorb the technology which is already available. And the other thing is mostly they're all single component or process oriented. Now, the complex defense requirements, the projects which are published are mostly taken up by the defense PSUs and the large private industries. And outsourcing model is what is predominant right now, and MSMEs remain as tier 2, 3, or 4. So this is something like there is no an ecosystem has not been created. There is no institutional mechanism for industry and academia collaboration on research. Defense and academia collaboration is currently limited to IITs. We have not reached out to the other good private and public universities which are there. The ecosystem for collaboration hence needs a boost. Now, when I say collaborative R&D, it's supposed to be a partnership between two or more parties who work together or to achieve common goal. It could be between two industries, or it could be between academia and industry, or academia and the end user. So these ones. So we have like basic research, applied research, and experiment development. And what we need in this particular case as an immediate requirement to get into indigenization on a faster mode is the experimental development R&D, and followed by applied research. And in parallel, we need to go for the basic research. So basic research will be looking at new concepts, which are primarily to develop a technology rather than try to look at an application. As far as the collaboration is concerned, within the definition of R&D, the academia can focus on the design, construction, and testing of prototypes, which falls within the scope of R&D. The industry can carry out transfer of technology when endpoint of R&D has been reached, that is, necessary modification to the prototype have been made and testing has been successfully completed. So thereafter, the bulk production can be continued by industry. And defense being the driving force, they can define the problem statements. They can clarify all the use case and the difficulties or whatever is coming up in case of while doing the R&D or when the product is being manufactured, and facilitate acceptance trials at a faster pace. Now, all these three need to be in loop till the still successful completion of the project. Otherwise, the project will not have happen smoothly. So, in order to have this working together, we need an external body which may be included to monitor and coordinate the efforts. So, the whole all of them put together becomes a collaborative R&D. And coordinated manufacturing is to guarantee the targeted and efficient implementation of the project, effective administration and management of the project through its lifetime. The activities can be like progress monitoring, active risk management, the handholding in all manufacturing processes, quality assurance, and the timely submission of deliverables. Now, maintain communication with the funding agency or indentor, keep project within budget and schedule, coordinate with the project direction, and uphold requirements. Now, all this is done, should be done by the external agency that we talked about in the previous slide. That is the last line. An external body may be included to monitor and coordinate. So this agency should be doing it. And in our case, it is the Bridge Bharat who have been doing it. Now, there are a few perceived hurdles. On ground, with no offense to any of the industries here, there is a lack of awareness to even locate the RFPs. We have to understand the lengthy RFPs. At times, even the people who are experienced in uniform also find it too lengthy to keep our focus on. Now, whom to contact for the details? Like when they need something, they don't know the gamut of defense. They don't know whom to contact, where to get details from. And the most important is they don't know the form, fit, and function of the components that they're manufacturing, which leads to a great issue of the reliability. It is not, it doesn't get catered for if they don't know the form, fit, function of the component. Regarding the supply orders, there are some points of concern from the MSME side, like we have inconsistent and irregular supply, and because of the L1 concept, the low volume and high cost products, heavy investments in capex, special grade of material, long cycle times, 2 years, and then thereafter followed by warranty, and payment delays, NCNC trials, and the issue of integrating and testing. So these are all the points of concerns which is keeping the MSMEs away from taking on the defense manufacturing. And we do find solution for each of them. In fact, we locate the RFP, we read out the RFP, we hand over the RFP to a group of industries who are linked to that. We suggest which all companies should take what part. We divide into the modular parts of the project, and we guide them to form a consortium. I'll show you pictorially later. Just a classical example, what I normally use is an electric motor. It's such a common item that an order is placed by defense that they need an electric motor. It can be, I mean, nothing great about it. It's a normal specification, but then it includes various items like the housing, the electrical stamping, bearing shield, shaft. So if you look at the MSMEs, if you map it onto the MSMEs, the mere housing itself, if it is whether it's made of aluminum or made of iron, based on that, we have a casting company which does only casting. There's another company who does the machining. There's another company who does the painting. So when we have like 3 companies working on this, and obviously there is the electrical stamping and the winding is done by entirely another company. The shaft, the bearings, fan, even the nameplates, all of them come from different MSMEs. So when they look at even if they're handed over the RFP, all these companies, the individual companies, get a feeling that this is not my product at all, because I'm just into casting, or I'm just doing the winding. I only know to do the shaft. So that means this particular order is not being attempted by any of the MSMEs. This is a very general problem which has been found, and that is where for understanding it and handing over to individual companies is becoming very important, which we are doing it. And thereafter, the issue comes about who will handle the design, integration, and the testing part. And if this was just a normal commercial motor, it was different. But if you have a special requirement in terms of for example, we have 400 hertz motor required in some of the radar systems. Now, if in that case, we need somebody to do the R&D. Now, who will do the R&D? Again, we need a body who will do it. So this is the actually a problem with one of the simplest things, like a motor, electric motor. We normally take it for granted. We're not even talking about bigger projects. So when we go for a larger order, what happens? Ideally, like as per the classification categorization for MSMEs, we have a micro which is having less than 1 crore as investment in plant and machinery and less than 5 crore at annual turnover. And the medium is having a turnover of about 250 crores. I just put one Make 2 project as an example, which is a show-based guided rocket. Now we are looking at prototype 100 units, 100 crore per unit, and bulk of 80 crores per unit. So the cost is about 660 crores. Now this, you'll find the micros cannot take it, the small cannot take it, even the medium, many of them may not be in this range of able to take this order. Right. So this is where we looked at, and how do we handle this? If there is nobody to take this order, who's going to make it? That is the problem we are facing. Now, we need the industry and the academia to get involved so that this particular order has to come through if defense has to get the order. So the major issues in hand is like MSME is mostly focused on a single component of the process. The qualification requirement, which is generally put on the RFP, is a turnover of minimum average of 2 years, should be greater than 10% of the project cost. And normally, like that is a minimum. Usually, it is given up to 30% of the project cost. So if you go back to the previous one, the 30% of 660, so that comes closer to 200 crores, wherein a very few handful of companies only will be able to even attempt it. The net worth should be greater than 5% of project cost in last financial year. And there is another clause where it comes as experience minimum 2 years for similar project. Now, when a new company, maybe a large company, for example, a 500 crore company doing very well with different products, wants to diverse into this, they have to come in with no experience at all. Now, probably what we can do is we can put an industry which is already having an experience. That is what we do, so that we are able to address this. Then comes to the question of cost of branding, the BG, inventory holding cost. So all this really takes a toll on the companies, which only the larger companies are able to address. Now, for this, we need one is we need an integrator, and secondly, an overall coordination system which is put in place for synergizing the effort. Now, some of the solutions, just naming them, we're not getting into the deep into that. Consortiums. Now, consortium is a concept which was introduced in DAP 2020, wherein a group of entities can come together to implement a specific project. Consortium based on expertise required for the project. Now, they should have an understanding of the project. That is, like I'm talking as a coordinator. They should understand the project, technology requirements, identify the experts, the companies which can probably come together to do this. There should be an agreement on mutual terms between all of them. Document the role and milestones so that everything is clear right before we start. Now, each consortium should have a designated lead member and an arbitrator. So Bridge Bharat is doing the job of both, we're doing the job of coordinator as well as arbitrator. And the companies which are taking the major share in the project is we are designated them as a lead member. Now, meeting QR. For technical parameters, any one of the consortium members or their group companies may meet the criteria. This I just mentioned a few minutes ago. A larger company who's got, who's got a lot of expertise in doing something, but they specifically do not have an expertise on producing one particular equipment which is required for the defense. But then they have the capability and they wish to. So they probably can take a small company into the consortium who have got experience in doing the similar items, but then they're not capable of taking such a large order. So that is what we deal with that. And the financial credentials parameters are calculated based on the number of people into that. This is right from the DAP only, so this can be referred to. Now, collaborative R&D is a collaboration between academia, research labs. This is what we are looking at, and industries for R&D to meet defense requirements, both for published as well as greenfield projects. Published, when I say published, it is the RFI, RFPs which have been published in the open forums, and greenfield projects when we have a technology available or a technology we can make, and make this technology accepted by the defense and supply to them. The R&D can be short-term, primarily focused on development, as I mentioned earlier, or it could be a long-term project to develop the concepts for applied as well as basic research. We definitely require all three kinds of R&D, because if we don't keep up with the pace, we'll never reach the future. But then, yes, the immediate requirement is that we have to get into the focused R&D for development, so that we are able to go through. We are also doing corporate venture building, where we are working as external corporate venture builders, and we are focused where the established companies launching separate ventures, especially in the defense, they can be gated, and we are supporting this. Now, the question comes to how to bridge the gap. I'll explain our success model, where Bridge Bharat Council is working on. We are promoting the innovation, research, and entrepreneurship. We were awarded on 5th of September at Chennai by Honorable Rajya Raksha Mantri for our contribution towards Make in India by supporting and handholding MSMEs and academia at grassroots level, and also for training and employing the military veterans in the aerospace and defense. He had appreciated our concept and had also endorsed it as a successful model for Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's a great pride for all of us. Bridge Bharat Council is an action-oriented think tank working as corporate venture builder, following the principles of collaborative R&D and coordinated manufacturing, which helps the key for success. We are a Section 8 company, not for profit, supported by senior military officials, the industrial leaders, the domain experts, and the vice chancellors from the academia side. We are involved in motivating and mentoring the MSMEs and academia to be part of the defense sector. We handhold them, and we have a established network working in 12 states, and we are also working in other states, and we have a presence pan-India. We have associates, the NIT Trichy, we have SRM Institute of Technology, the Amrita University, all campuses, the MIT University at Pune. So we have these universities all over India who are supporting us in terms of the technology. And we have the industrial association, we have the industrial bodies with us, we have industries, we have about 450 industries with us so far. So all the companies put together, we have a collective expertise of handling the projects on software and hardware for AI, VR, and ERP, embedded systems, the heavy fabrications, metallurgy, electrical electronics, PCB design and harness, the rubber products. In fact, we even have the rubber farmers on board with us. The explosive construction on NTS on the civil engineering side. We have pharmaceutical companies, the medical equipment, biotech, which are also required by the medical services. The textiles and technical textiles, which are required for special purposes. So primarily what we do is the Bridge Bharat Council, we are in constant touch with the industry and academia on one side, the armed forces, the DRDO, defense PSUs on the other side. So the first model I'll talk about is the full model, where we capture all the published RFPs, we analyze them, the defense RFPs, make projects, IDEX challenges, etc. We break them down into modular problems which can be addressed. Like I explained earlier, we put it into the technology-wise base, and we look at who are all the people who can do, and we achieve product realization by the consortium of industries and academia. We facilitate R&D and manufacture, integration and testing, synergize the production and quality assurance. The other side, we do the push model, wherein we look for the available technologies with the potential for use in defense. Like the industries have done it for the commercial purpose, but then we definitely may have requirement in defense. The academy have done some project on their own, which are required by defense. So those such technologies we identify. We convert it into the potential projects for defense. We interact with the defense authorities and facilitate a greenfield project. So here again, we synergize the whole process and the quality assurance part. So this is just a summary of what all we do. Besides what I mentioned about collaborative R&D, forming consortiums, we also support GEM portal awareness campaign, support for registration. Many companies find it difficult, and also on the OEM status. So group of OEMs and academia are being supported on a regular basis. We handhold for R&D, IDEX, TDF open challenges. When we say handhold for the R&D, we give them actually what is required and all the operational conditions and the environmental conditions and what is expected as a user, having been a user ourselves. We also do like seminars for academia MSMEs with support of Army, Navy, Air Force, and hackathon and faculty development. So far, we've got about associates for industries. We have more than 450 plus, and it's ever growing. The academia, we have more than around 60 bodies with us now, including the universities. We have the local industry bodies who are an MOE with us. The state industrial development bodies like TITCO, Infra, the DFOs of MSME state-wise, they are with us. The advisors and domain experts and defense authorities. So they're all associated with us to facilitate what we are trying to do. The projects, we have taken up development projects, indigenization projects against RFPs as well as greenfield projects. We have demonstrated the consortium effect or the impact of industries and academia and their products into expos, to defense expos. And happy to say that our stalls had the maximum footfalls every time. We have done 2 reach out programs with Ministry of MSME for Kerala, where we have got the defense officials participation coordinated completely, and we had a defense leg of reach out program within the Ministry of MSME's program. We have done seminars for the industry, academia, and defense officials together, so that we will have one-to-one talk about what is required by defense and how we can make it happen. We have done numerous seminars of this nature, and wherein it is three-way communication was encouraged. Corporate venture building, we have 3 major projects in hand right now. 3 major companies are working with us on various projects within themselves. We have a list of activities. Probably I can share it subsequently. I'll just flash the indigenous greenfield projects. Now, this is all integrated projects wherein all technologies are involved, including drones and AI. So, with that, I conclude. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. The collaboration divides the task and multiplies the success. So if any questions are there, I'm ready to take them.
Thank you very much, Colonel Selva. Before we take the questions, I will request General Kapoor, sir, to give a review of the talk.
I would like to compliment Selva for a very detailed and brilliant articulation of the problem statement that has afflicted us for over maybe a couple of decades now. And we've always contended with 3 generations of equipment, something that is near obsolete, if not obsolete. That means beyond 30 years to maybe 60 years vintage. Something that is contemporary, in vogue for over a decade or so, and the state of the art, which is futuristic. And if we were to see the percentages, maybe the center of gravity would be towards legacy equipment. That is so because when we look at armed forces, not only our own, but globally, the numbers are such that overnight change of equipment is indeed a huge challenge. And therefore, if you start thinking of obsolescence at about 30, 35 years, it's about 40 to 50 years by the time you actually deal with the last equipment and you are clear of it. In such an environment, in such a situation, it is very, very important that the ecosystem comprising MSMEs and industry scale up to manage the legacy. More so because even the OEM has actually lived off this equipment or this technology or both. And therefore, he may not be interested in actually pursuing the past with as much vigor as he is pursuing the future. Because more often than not, industry is more banking their lives on the on future and production and ROI. Life cycle and support is okay with them for maybe 10 to 15 years, which is also the time for which you keep a civil equipment, maybe a car or a scooter. But when it is defense equipment, it is inordinately delayed for any kind of discard. And that's where the problem lies. And I'm happy that the BBC, which is come up as a Section 8 company, of which Colonel Selva is the CEO, has taken up this challenge of meeting legacy and trying to fix the problems of all legacy equipment. I think this is a great initiative.
Thank you, sir.
But more importantly, I am of the view that this area of legacy management actually needs to be regulated. In fact, I would go to the extent of saying that technology management by itself needs to be regulated, because a lot of effort goes into it, and if the effort is wasteful, quite a few get disheartened, quite a few companies, MSMEs get disheartened. And in my own service, I have seen quite a few coming to me, sir, 5 years back we were promised this, with great difficulty we have produced this, and now we are told you please participate in the tender, and we have already invested so much, and this is our problem. So really speaking, whenever we actually start, the regulation and governance seems to be weak to allow more and more participants. But as we progress in time, I think it is very important to create regulations for management of defense equipment and management of legacy. And here I would say that, maybe in an enhanced role, DGQA and these organizations, rather than focus on quality assurance, which today the industry by and large and the MSMEs are also quite adept at, they should look at creating regulatory mechanisms for managing legacy as to who is qualified for what. As an example, if somebody is qualified for gears, or somebody is qualified in 3D printing for producing some intricate assemblies and sub-assemblies, somebody who's very good at reclamation, I think these technologies need to be developed in a very, very controlled manner. And if that happens, as a Make in India, as a Atmanirbhar Bharat, with the near decline of such facilities in Ukraine and Russia, who are on the forefront, I think India will come up in a very big way to support any kind of equipment globally. And I think that is where the challenge lies. In the end, I'd like to once again convey my deep gratitude and compliments both to Selva for the kind of details and depths he has gone into to bring out the complete spectrum
Thank you,
in
sir.
such a
Thanks,
lucid
sir.
manner. I think it is not so easy to cover the complete set of activities which get involved in life cycle sustenance. But I think he's articulated the whole thing, looking at industry, MSME, government agencies, armed forces, academia, and I think for each, he's given a very good solution of bringing them into a futuristic ecosystem to manage both the future equipment and technologies and the legacy. Thank you very much, Selva, and wish you the best in your endeavor. And in any case,
Thank you, sir.
now that you presented to us, you have IIRF with you to support you in whatever way you think we can, because I think there's a huge bandwidth
Absolutely.
in our foundation as well to support such progressive activities. All the best.
That's a great
Thank you,
gesture,
Raj.
sir.
Back
Thanks
to
a
you.
lot for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking out the time. I'm sorry for bothering you. This was unscheduled, but thanks for being here. Any case, I see Mr. Uday Purohit here. Mr. Purohit, are you there? You have got some deep experience in the industry, and you would like to share or say something. Mr. Purohit, if you are there, you can unmute and come in. I remember you had given a wonderful presentation to us.
So, first of all, thank you very much. I'm here because Brigadier Sandeep always pushes me to attend, and I find these very interesting. So, first of all, General Kapoor, if you're still there, greetings and pranam to you, sir.
Always a pleasure. Mr. Uday, sorry, I did not see you in the audience. Now that I see, allow me to, for a minute, Mr. Uday, speak about one of the vanguards in handling legacy, and he's the master of, if I may say, torsion vibration, and mastering the art of talking to an Indian and making the Indian talk to you. He's had huge successes globally, and we are trying to look at his systems in the defense. While Navy is quite adept, I think Air Force and Army need to co-opt this technology sooner than later, because today I think it is no longer a choice. It's a compulsion to go in for what he has on offer. I wouldn't like to steal his thunder, but always a pleasure meeting you physically and virtually, Mr. Uday. Over to you.
Mr. Uday.
General Kapoor, my story in the army started with you. And so I'm always indebted to you for the push or guidance and for a single-minded focus in believing that technology alone can help us in future. And so for that, it's this. So let me just come back to what we are doing. So our focus is on predictive diagnostic systems. How can we make equipment more sustainable? How can we make it more cost-effective, etc.? While we've had great success in the Navy, Coast Guard, and Air Force, by the INS Vikrant will be fitted with our torque measuring system, 2 shafts, 88 megawatts. It's working on the same principle of measuring torsional vibrations, a wider application. The Air Force is now going to mandate it at all the BRDs for doing the gensets. And recently, we are now signed an NDA with them. We are sure that we can also help them with the Sukhoi engines. DRDO has asked GTRE to inspect or to test our gas turbine module at Bangalore, and post 4th December, we'll go there. The big roadblock has been the army. In terms of attitude, I guess, in terms of wanting to do it, recently, and so we proved that on the C9, on the T90, T72, on the BMPs, that the system with just a single sensor fitted in situ can actually predict health. I think General Kapoor had flown down from Delhi to Pune only to see this. I think he had also sent somebody from General Varshney to also check it out. This matter was tested at all levels at MCME, and my recent experience at MCME was they asked us to do the test. I kept saying, please tell me what you're going to judge me on. So I entered an examination hall with no syllabus and no question paper. I was asked to write answers, and at the end they told me, oh, these are not the questions at all. So this is the bitter experience at the army level. I don't know what has stopped it. It is my belief that the lieutenant generals who are the decision makers don't want to upset the apple cart. General Kapoor, I'm sorry if I'm making such an out of place statement, but in this case, there was a colonel who kept telling me even before the trials that, "Arey, kahe ko tum humko takleef deta hai? This tanks have worked for 40 years. They don't need something like you." And there is where the pain lies with the army. This talk about MSMEs, this talk about helping MSMEs, in my opinion, is nothing but pure rubbish. There is absolutely not a single MSME I know or SME that I know, and I've talked to a lot of people who can say that, yes, I have got through to the army very easily. If you cross one barrier, they put up another barrier. And most MSMEs finally quit because they say, oh, it's not just worth pursuing. So we are not the L&Ts or the Bharat Force that have deep pockets to pursue this for years together. And therefore lies a very telling statement to say that the people who are judging technology very often don't have a clue about technology. And so how do you pass an exam when the examiner doesn't know the subject itself? So I've tried to explain this at various forums. And I'm not bitter at all. I'm not bitter at all because I've got great global success. It is my belief that if the army needs to modernize, I think the people, Kapoor was one of the few army who took time to understand the technology and then see its application. So that's my two long bits for you, everybody. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This is what I want to hear from you, sir, because I knew that you have something to really tell us. And this is the story that long back you had experience, but things have changed so much. So I do not know whether they have changed or not. But now in the changed circumstances, people like us, we are now trying to bridge that gap. Like USI, if you today, unfortunately, Major General Pawan Anand is not here. He just messaged me that he was already in a very important meeting, so he could had to skip. He is in fact completely dedicated himself to interface the MSMEs with the services headquarters. And he is giving his entire infrastructure and facility of the USI, where he is taking all the presentations, mentoring them, curing them, then bringing the services headquarters, right people to attend the thing. And when everything is okay, then it is taken to the services headquarters. But this type of things were not existing earlier. People like Colonel Selva, I'm sure that many more organizations are working. Yeah, problems are there, but we have to find the solution to this. And your experience will be very, very enriching and enlightening, and definitely.
Yeah. So my experience is not legacy experience. My experience, what I'm talking about is as recent as 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago. So I'm saying that this is current situation. I'm not talking of, sir, in
then it is more relevant then.
Yeah, I'm talking of today. So ADB has the funds. ADB is prepared to send it out. is prepared to put the systems in place. They've got the money. They've got the systems. DGAC has approved the system, but there's one person who says no, we don't need it. It's 40 years. We haven't needed it. So I'm saying, what does an MSME do, and how much money can an MSME in the system without getting payback? So I mean, it's finally you say, leave it. Let me look at commercial opportunities elsewhere.
Okay, Selva, you could answer. You wanted to answer, Colonel Selva.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. This question, Mr.Atre, regarding assuming it is difficult to change defense equipment, this seems to have larger strategic implication. I'll answer this question. The firstly is, yes, we need to make our own equipment. There is a lot of effort in this particular direction. We have already rolled out the products which are owned. Like we already succeeded in lightweight tanks. We've succeeded in making a gun, and we also succeeded in making aircrafts. But then, yes, the strategic developments and these will take long. We are not a country who can throw away the entire inventory that we are holding today and go for a complete substitution. We need to focus on indigenization of the spares. The first thing, that's a tactical requirement. That is the focus primarily. As I mentioned, if you recollect, 2/3 of the fund is going to sustaining this equipment. And during my tenure with the Directorate of Indigenization of Army, we had replaced the complete power pack of BMP. That was one of the biggest project under defense manual. Where we had gone for a complete replacement of engine, transmission system, and the automatic gearbox. So that is the biggest one. Then we have achieved about 90%, in fact 95% of indigenization of Bofors. The complete spares have been indigenized. Then the RT guns, the various guns, we have achieved up to 80% of the indigenization during my time in DOI itself. So tanks also we have more than 60% items which have been indigenized. Now indigenization is just to make sure that the equipment we have is in running condition. We still have them, whether like what I mentioned earlier about the vintage of being 40 years plus. I will look at it as an opportunity to upgrade our own technology by trying to indigenize these space with the current technology. When we do it, we become ready to get into the capital procurement, that is creating a complete tank, because we need time to learn. So we make the parts, we make part by part, then upgrade to sub-assemblies, assemblies, and systems, and we can roll out an equipment. Exactly what has been done by Bharat Forge as well as the gun is concerned. They've been in this for a while. So, we need to look at this. Yes, the strategic implication is there, understood, taken, and is being addressed on a larger level. But then we have the tactical level at which we should be able to contribute, so that we have the MSMEs who are ready to power. And these MSMEs, when they get experience in doing it, they will come handy when we roll out the larger equipment and we get into lead the export to global market. Hope this understands when this answers the questions.
Yeah, thank you. Premraj Maheshwar has raised the hand.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, video on if possible.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am not in a position to turn the video on. My bandwidth is a little slow, so I can get only one thing through at a time. So if you don't mind, is it okay if I just speak without the video?
Okay, fine.
Thank you very much. I'm retired Air Commodore Maheshwar. I recently retired. My background is that I'm a helicopter pilot, but my last 2 tenures I've been Air Commodore Plants in Vayu Bhavan, as well as I was Deputy Technical Manager here in MOD Acquisitions. Now I have recently been associated with Bridge Bharat Council also. So at the outset, thank you, Council Kumar. Very well spoken, and
thank you, sir.
Also, I just wanted to, reaffirm and, support some of the viewpoints Mr. Uday Purohit has put forward. Mr. Purohit, I couldn't agree more with you with what you have said as far as the frustrating experience you people have when you deal with services on certain issues. And so that is one of the reasons when I was myself in the chair sitting as economic plans and was dealing with some of the MSMEs, I felt there was a major gap between our understanding of a problem and the solutions being provided. That is one of the prime reasons why I wanted to associate and start working on this, because there seems to be a gap which we somehow need to fill, otherwise there always be. Also, there is an issue which I know users identifying the problem and the solutions being provided by the industry. There's a gap there also. Very many times the user has a tendency of not only stating the problem but also providing the solution. He thinks that is the solution. So this is unfortunately not true. My biggest issue has been always to constantly ask the users to refine the problem statements. So that is one of the biggest challenges which I face as far as users are concerned when I recommend a plans triangle. At the same time, the other challenge which we face with MSMEs who are providing solutions is for them to understand the problem very clearly. So it is frustrating, but aim is now to basically bridge this gap so that people who have the technology, who have the solutions, who can provide a solution. They can really solve things. I've seen a lot of good people doing very good work, and I'm very hopeful that I will be able to help people out to resolve these issues. So thank you very much, Mr. Purohit. Actually, yes, that is the problem. What you're facing is the actual issue. Thank you. That's all I wanted to state.
Yes, Uday, you raise your hand.
So, my recent experience at 7BRD.
Yeah.
So when we presented our system, 7BRD came out with a very, very crisp and to the point specs of what their system wanted. We responded by telling them exactly what we could do. Once they received our message, they pulled out or they wrote out a spec for acceptance. I thought that was the most technically competent and accurate document I've seen in the armed forces. So we knew exactly what we had to do, and what were the approval criteria. So we conducted the trial at 7BRD for 2 weeks. We got a certificate from them saying that you complied with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And therefore, your system is now approved for use, so and so, so and so. I think even such a document like this, if the armed forces or the users can create for the SMEs, then at least it becomes clear as to what is expected out of me. In the army, for instance, I've been saying, please tell me what you need. And they've been saying, no, you come and show us. And every time I show them a monkey dance, they say, no, this is not the monkey we want. We want another monkey to do a dance a different way. So I think even starting off with a spec, this is what I seek. This is the pain that I have. And it's, even if you see the IDEX challenge, it is so vague and it is so subjective that if you are in a good mood, you can accept it. If you're not, you can say, okay, this is not what I need. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I fully agree with IDEX. Yes. That is the biggest stupidity which was.
Okay, it's practical experience and things how MSMEs are facing things on the ground has been very well explained, and that's why there is a change required at certain levels to understand what is the requirement. Exactly after understanding the requirement, then only you can decide what to have. So therefore, you have to be updated on the technology. You have to be updated on the application of the latest technology as it's going to affect for the next 10 years at least. That is where it matters as far as the things on the ground happens. That is Colonel Selva Kumar is what he is doing. We have to really get the academics into the thing, and you have to think about 10 years ahead and get the things done. In the meantime, such a large organization, our army, which is I think second or third largest in the world, need to change their attitude, need to change the way they are, getting things into the armed forces. For that, it is required the user has to be the user at the middle level and above. I wouldn't say the lowest level. The middle level onwards, they have to be technologically oriented, and they have to identify what is the requirement, which can stand them for next 10 years. And as it goes up, it can be, these things can be made into Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4, or whatever you want. So this is very important aspect which is coming out in this in our webinar today. And I'm sanguine. Rishi is here. These things can be put into writing and put into our next yearbook 2024. This is a very important issue for the Indian Armed Forces to consider.
So Dr. S. Devanayan, director, he has raised his hand. We will get it. Yeah. Can you come in, Dr. Devanayan?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. Please. Though we have overshot our time, but since you have raised the hand, we will listen to you.
So, good evening, sir. Good evening. This is Dr. Devanayan, a renewable energy specialist, alumni of NIT and IIT, having 69 patents, having my own renewable energy company in Coimbatore, and we extended our business in Middle East and Africa also. I thank our friend Mr. Jay Kumar and Mr. Selva Kumar, who is very, very well known to me. Through them only I am able to join this meet. Thanks, Jay Kumar and Selva Kumar, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay. The question is like, since we are specialists in renewable energy sector and we have a lot of patents, we already approached the defense sector, especially for retrofitting the existing tanks into electric driven, which will reduces the cost of your operational expenditure, especially when you train the soldiers using tanks. Instead of, when you train the soldiers using diesel operated tanks, is very expensive. Rather, if you go for retrofitting that tanks in electric driven, so the expenditure is very less. Power the tanks by like a solar power or renewable energies power, something like that. So this is number one. And number two is like we can design and develop renewable energy power generators rather than having a diesel generator, especially in the remote regions of defense personnel. So like this, we have so many innovation ideas. As I already told you, like I have 69 patents. So now how do we associate with this? As Selva Kumar sir said, that so $70 billion has been allocated for the defense. So we would like to join with this program. I mean, especially with these projects from the renewable energy verticals. And also we have a very strong funds with us. So we are able to contribute initially, and later we will take back the money from the defense. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Dr. Devanayan. And I would request the SMSEs to kindly understand the situation which has been explained very well by Mr. Uday Purohit and Air Commodore Maheshwar. So there are issues which I'm sure SMSEs at their level will be able to put across to the IDS, and the procurement is controlled by the IDS for all the three services to my knowledge. So you may kindly take this inputs so that the same thing can be put across in an acceptable manner, and things can be resolved. That's to ensure that we get the best of equipments and think of reducing the expenditure. That's, everybody is talking about defense expenditure is high, that this and all those things. Wherever there is possible to reduce the expenditure by putting things right in the front without taking the things backwards. So that's where you have to see. And tanks are very expensive, like Dr. Devanayan has said. So this can be addressed by SMSEs, definitely, I'm sure. Can anyone from SMSEs, Srivastava sir, are you there? Then you can give your points.
Sir, Jayan sir, I'm Wing Commander Jayan from SMSEs. Director had to leave because he got a call. There was some urgent requirement. I have noted your points. I have conveyed to the director. And I would also like to actually agree with Colonel Selva sir, because whatever interaction I've had with the industry in terms of drones and space startups and other industries, I have always, in the interaction, I face the same question from them: who do we contact? how do we reach to the service headquarters? So the work that the Bridge Bharat Council is doing is a great work, I would say, sir, because
Thank you.
there are things like the drone federations are, and in space. Yeah, in space is doing a very good job, sir. Even the drone federation is doing, but then still facing such kind of queries from the individual startups or industry reps, that how do we approach service headquarters, gives a grim situation of the picture that they still do not know whom to reach to market their product. So congratulations to you, sir.
Yeah, that's good. In fact, this is this equipment is one thing which is used by Navy and Air Force now. what is being held is thing. It's a thing for St. George to. I would not get into that. It's a thing for St. George to decide, and if you want, you can go further into depth of these things subsequently. Who was raised?
Doctor.
So thank you for your interest.
I will connect you to Major General Pavan Anand, who will be helping you in your
yes, please.
with your projects. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Rishi,
I mean, we will say that we are very strong in renewable energy sector. We can take any challenges.
Thank you. Sir, the only thing I'll say is that Wing Commander Jain himself is a fighter pilot, so he would have a good idea of technology. Wing Commander, have you put off your screen? Are you there?
Yes, sir, I am there, sir. I am a helicopter pilot, though, sir. But so may I ask a question again, sir? What do you want me to comment upon?
I'm saying you understand the technology challenge as well, since you're a technologist yourself.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining, because
Sir.
thank you, St. Joe's, for joining.
So I think there are any questions. You are muted, Raj. Raj, you are muted.
Sir, we already overshot. We are holding people. People must be having engagements.
Fine.
So if you permit, we will wind it up, sir. And this is recorded, and we will share the recording with others. And we will carry the points that have been raised during this conference. We will further progress it. Be rest assured. We will take it up. This is
okay. I thank you all for attending this webinar. And we are going, this is the second in the series of talk. This is the second talk, and I'm sure we will be going ahead with more talks, and more things will come up, I'm sure. With St. George coming with us, and I'm sure they will also give us somebody to talk on issues which are relevant as far as Atmanirbharta is concerned, and how we can take it actually function, how we can make the Atmanirbharta function on the ground.
Indus International Research Foundation is a global think tank with its physical presence in India and USA. It is a global network of scholars, professionals, and veterans based in various parts of the globe. The foundation focuses primarily on international relations, Indian heritage, political economy, and security studies. While the uniqueness of IIRF India lies in the fact that it seeks solution to national and international problems through the prisms of Indian ethos, philosophy, and civilizational wisdom, IIRF Americas is committed to act as a bridge between the people, academics, enterprise, and businesses of the two democracies to join hands for a better world and a better tomorrow. It also tries to bring the people of two countries together. True to its motto, IIRF aims to provide forum to the voices from all quarters, geographies, and gender, who question dominant narratives. It is this plurality of thought, so unique to Indian tradition, that IIRF seeks to carry abroad, while simultaneously bringing contemporary global debates to India. If mankind is to survive as a civil society, there is no alternative other than to share the resources of the universe equitably for the benefit of all. IIRF believes in the Indian wisdom contained in Vedas that says, "Nature is the sole owner of all the treasure of this universe, and there is enough for everyone."